Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho. I like to make stuff. Today I've got part number 85 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. This is the 1/8 scale massive model that we're building together. Without further ado, let's just jump right into this one. Okay, starting off, we've got our cover here. And welcome back frames. We've got part number 85 with our parts in here. And we've got our magazine. All right, let's take a look at it. All right, let's check it out. Okay, I did take a peek at this earlier, and this is a really cool article. And it is the rise and fall of the retractable headlight. You know, the AE86 is synonymous, right? At least the Trueno version is synonymous for its retractable headlight, right? Takumi uses it in the battle where he turns off his headlights and they retract down. They're very iconic because of the sleek look when the lights are not on. It's just all hood. And retractable headlights are quintessential 1980s. You see them on a lot of vehicles, from Hondas, Toyotas. Mazda had the RX-7, had it. The Toyota 2000 GT had them too as well. Retractable headlights have been such a staple in kind of nostalgic Japanese vehicles, and none the less than the AE86, which had been like the poster boy of retractable headlights. Now, the thing with retractable headlights is that they sometimes didn't always work, and I think that's the main reason why. You also had concerns of people, could you choose the Levin or you choose the Trueno, and what are the arguments around either one, right? The Levin, you have fixed headlights. They're heavier, they're glass. Whereas the Trueno has, yes, it's more aerodynamic looking, and it probably is a little bit more aerodynamic with the headlights down, but those motors would fail. There's a relay that would not stop working too as well, and then your headlights would be stuck up, right? And you had to keep them up because then you wouldn't be able to turn your headlights on if the motor stopped working or something like that. So you had kind of trade-offs on how people kind of what was better for you, So let's take a look at the article here too as well, and they have a lot of cool examples. And apparently, retractable headlights, I didn't know this, but since I feel like it was really popularized in Japan, maybe, and some of these really iconic vehicles like the 2000 GT here. And I'm going to focus on the article so you can read it if you'd like. Or the RX-7, the first gen RX-7 here. I always thought those were the iconic vehicles around that. And that's kind of but it was actually invented in America, the retractable headlights. The vintage Toyota Accord, which is crazy because actually a lot of these Accords I've seen on the streets, like the older ones, their retractable headlights still work, which is kind of crazy. You see them with them down. You don't see them very often at all. They're very, very old now. But back in the day, I'd always see these things working. Maybe they were broken, they wouldn't go up, though, who knows. And then they mentioned the kind of real last production model of that had retractable headlights was the RX-7 from 2003. And I know in 2025, there's a body kit coming out for the GR Corollas, not the GR Corollas, I'm sorry, but the GT86 or that somebody's actually trying to bring back the headlight as a body kit, so you could actually get a retractable headlight for your new Corolla, newish Corolla, and have retractable headlights. Honestly, looks kind of funny. Personally, with retractable headlights, if it's a 2000 GT, I think it looks slick because they pop up, they completely come out of the body, right? That looks really slick in my opinion. The square bodies, like on the RX-7 and on the Accord, I think they look great with that. It just looks seamless. With stuff like this RX-7 here, when they're kind of more sleek on the front, it just looks kind of clunky, and they kind of come out of nowhere. And then the body kit that I saw for with the retractable headlights, personally, not a massive fan. They just look kind of out of place, right? And you could probably say that too without the 2000 GT, but I feel like these are so far inset back to to the vehicle, it actually looks a lot better in my opinion. Let me actually see if I can find a picture. Okay, found it. So let's take a peek at this thing real quick. You know, the round body, I'll make sure it's in focus for you. The round body, you know, it looks kind of cool. It just feels out of place where it's positioned on the fender. Obviously, they didn't want to ruin the fender line. And it feels so wide. And maybe, I mean, just looking at this one in comparison, the boxy style of the old ones, it just fits way better than this one. I don't know. Maybe it's the wheel arches that are just kind of throwing me off a little bit. I don't know. It's trying really hard because it's kind of a low roof line. You know, I don't know. Personally, not my cup of tea. Maybe it grows on me. I'm probably not going to buy one. I don't have one of these vehicles. But, you know, it with the headlights down, looks really thick, actually. That looks really good. But with the headlights up, you know, maybe it's something that to be desired too as well. Yeah, so it's a concept for the Tokyo Auto Salon, the Neo 86. You know, I think that might catch on. I think people will like this, but it is a body kit, so it's not like it's being put in production too as well. Take a look at that. So, you know, it really depends on, you know, if you're willing to shell out, because you've got a lot of stuff to replace. If you're replacing your fixed headlights, you've got your hood, you've got your fenders, you've got a whole front bumper you got to do. You get the headlights, you got the motors, you've got to be able to tie that into your actual you know, your battery and stuff like that, and connect it to your actual power switch for your switch too as well. So it's not going to be cheap just for looks. I mean, that's something that you have to put into consideration if you want that, but it's going to be very unique. It's going to look like it. And, you know, if you're building a show car, it's something that you really enjoy, then I think, you know, that's kind of cool. But, you know, do what you like. I just feel like the original looks the best in my opinion, even with the headlights up like that. I think that looks better. Anyway, let's take a look at the next section here. And this is the Toyota Noah? Oh, Voxy. Sorry, the Voxy. This is very Japanese vehicle. It's a very, very tall SUV minivan. Not even SUV. It's a minivan, really. People carrier van that Japan makes. I don't know anything about these other than there is an article about it. So go ahead and let you take a peek if you'd like. These were made in 2007 to 2014, so relatively new vehicles. You can definitely tell the way that Toyota's interiors changed throughout the years. You can tell how, like, that actually doesn't look very comfortable at all. It looks very, very rigid. I bet you it does feel really nice, but it feels very kind of rigid, it looks like. And you can tell with their interior too as well. It's very much late 2010s, or, you know, early 2010s. There's the article if you'd like to read up about the Voxy. I guess it's a predecessor. Successor to the Noah. All right, let's jump right into the part here. So we're going to be putting in the same stuff that we've done before: gears, the plate for the door, and then also there's the gears, and the window too. We're actually not installing the window yet. Remember, that goes to another part, and then that's the end of the book there. So let's get everything set up. We'll take a look at the pieces and get started. Okay, so let's take a look at the screws first. We've got some RP screws and some AKM screws. We've got our window here, and I know we're not going to be doing anything with that, but there it is. We've got the strips of, I guess, what do you call it? Protectant for the window there. And I'm pretty sure, we are installing these today. Okay. We've got our door actuator here, the gears. Got our door hinge here, which is actually metal. This is actually quite solid metal, cast and painted really nice actually too as well. got our kind of flex plate. I don't even know what you call this, but like I consider it like a flex plate. This is actually to give the door that's kind of popping open motion. And we've got a gear. All right, and that is it for the parts. Let's get everything set up and get started. Okay, first things first, we're actually taking the bracket here, and we're going to be placing it right here like so. We're going to taking our kind of our flex plate here and placing it right there. There, that stud there, that too as well. And we've got our screw here. This is the AKM screw we showed before, and then we're just screwing this one down here. There he goes. Okay, so I didn't screw it down tight enough initially. You have to kind of really kind of wrench on it just so that it gets a little bit closer up top here. So the reason why is because this door action here needs to be kind of tight. So I'm actually going to tighten it just as much as we can just to make sure that I'm doing it properly. Cool. All right, that looks good. All right, next we're going to be taking, I believe this is the bigger strip here. Yep, the bigger strip here, and we're going to be placing it right along here on this edge. Again, this is to protect the door. Should be relatively simple. They do give us 2 shots at this, and even though we only need really 1. Alright, that's connected. It looks really good on that side. And this is literally just a lubrication barrier for the window so they can slide up and down. You can kind of see that. Thick over here. Okay, next part is actually we're taking the interior panel and we're going to be attaching it right here, it looks like. I just want to double check the orientation. I get this done correctly. All right, so I just had to double check the orientation of the gear to make sure I put it on right, because there is a thicker side and a thinner side. I couldn't remember which one was which, and kind of hard to tell. So you can see there's a ridge right there. Just want to double check and make sure I did it right. Place that down here. Good. And we take our moving arm here that we have. Oh, sorry. Before we put that in, we're putting an RP screw in. Gotta be really careful because this is flexing a lot. So I'm gonna do my best to give it a little backing there. You do want it to spin, so we don't want it to wrench down on it too much, but enough that, you know, it's secure. That looks good. Okay. Then we're going to take this arm here for our window retraction. It goes right here. There. See how it moves. Grab another RP screw. All right. The arm is in. It is not going anywhere. Looks good. And the last part on this part is actually a small one. So we're going to put another piece right there, piece of tape right there, just to make sure that there is a kind of a glide point on the window. Actually, is it this direction? I'm just double checking the look. Oh no, it's going to be on this direction because the window is going to be traveling up this. There is feels like there's a little ridge. Oh no, I was worried that right here there's like a ridge, but no, this is just flat. It just looks deceiving. All right, so we'll grab one of these stickers here. just want to get that stuck somewhere. Not really super high adhesive, but I just want to get this laid out, and I will adjust as needed. Yeah, see, there's an issue. This is not really adhering. That's what I was trying to avoid too much. Again, this is just a lubrication layer barrier to make sure this actually can go up and down pretty smoothly. So it's not like aesthetic, but I don't like it not sticking very well. I might actually use the other one. Well, it's sticking okay now. Yeah, but it's like, it's kind of shitty right here. I might try this other one. That's why they give you 2 shots. I don't know why this one is having such issues, and hopefully I don't run into the same thing on this one. Okay, that looks way better. Hopefully it sticks better too as well. Looks like it does. Got a little bump there. It's okay though. Again, this is the interior part, so it doesn't really matter too much what it looks like. I just want to make sure that it doesn't snag on anything. Yeah, that looks really a lot better than what it was before. Cool. That took a while, but hey, totally worth it in my opinion. Cool. So that is part number 85 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. Just really the door card, couple screws. Yeah, and then this kind of striker plate thing here that we have here. So that is part number 85. Thanks again for joining me today. We are not installing the window just yet. But yeah, we'll see you in part number 86 where we will be installing the window. Let's take a look real quick here. Oh yeah, so we've got the door panel. Actually, the door panel. Yeah, the door panel for this, and that will also include installation of the window too as well. And we'll have a window and probably attach it to the body too as well. So stay tuned for that. Part number 86. Again, thanks very much for joining me today. If you'd like the video, it really helps the channel grow. Subscribe too as well if you haven't. But we'll see you then. Bye for now.